Level 1. Bittersweet. Not every sadness in Tolkien's world comes from loss or death. Some of it is bittersweet, the quiet ache that comes when victory finally arrives, but innocence fades with it. Level 1 represents that kind of sorrow, the beauty of endings that come wrapped in gratitude and farewell. After years of struggle, Minas Tirith shines again. Aragorn, now crowned King LOTR, stands before his people, the return of hope after centuries of shadow. But amid the celebration, the truest heroes are not kings or captains. They are 4 small hobbits from the Shire, who began the journey with no power, no training, and no desire for glory. When Aragorn kneels before them and declares, "My friends, you bow to no one," the moment transcends triumph. It's a gentle heartbreak, the realization that the world will never see such innocence again. The hobbits' courage has restored Middle-earth, but it has also cost them the simplicity of their former lives. This is the lightest shade of sadness, the bittersweet kind Tolkien cherished most. It reminds us that even in victory, something precious is always left behind. Level 2. Grief of battle. The second level of sadness is grief of battle, the kind Tolkien knew deeply from his own experiences in war. It's the sorrow that mingles with courage when victory demands the life of someone noble and good. This level reminds us that in Middle-earth, even triumph comes drenched in loss. On the Pelennor fields, King Théoden leads the riders of Rohan into the fight of their lives. His speech ignites hope in a world on the brink of despair. "Ride now! Ride for ruin! And the world's ending." It's one of Tolkien's most stirring moments of heroism, but it carries the shadow of what's to come. When the Witch King strikes, Théoden is crushed beneath his horse. Éowyn and Merry, the 2 who defied orders to ride with him, reach him just in time for his final breath. He names Éomer his heir and finds peace in knowing that his people will endure. Around him, the roar of battle fades into stillness. This moment is not tragic because Théoden dies in vain. It's tragic because he dies rightly. His death is honorable, necessary, and devastating. It captures Tolkien's deepest belief, that true courage often means facing certain loss and choosing to fight anyway. Level 3. Broken friendship. Level 3 moves us into the sadness of broken friendship, the pain of loyalty fractured by weakness, then redeemed too late. This kind of sorrow runs deep. Even the noblest hearts can falter, and forgiveness often arrives only at the edge of death. Boromir's journey is one of devotion turned to desperation. Burdened by Gondor's suffering and his father's impossible expectations, he comes to believe the ring could save his people, but under its influence, his strength becomes his undoing. On Amon Hen, he tries to take the ring from Frodo, a brief fall that reveals how fragile even the strongest can be. The tragedy isn't the attempt itself, but the moment that follows. When the haze clears, Boromir realizes what he's done and fights to atone, defending Merry and Pippin with fearless resolve. Arrow after arrow pierces him, yet he refuses to fall until the last orc is slain. Aragorn finds him dying and kneels beside him. In Boromir's final confession, there's no villainy, only regret and love for his city. Aragorn's vow to protect Gondor and honor Boromir's memory turns grief into purpose. This level's sadness lies in friendship interrupted, the sorrow of promises kept too late, and redemption purchased with a life. It's Tolkien's reminder that even broken men can die whole. Level 4. Lost innocence. Level 4 represents the loss of innocence, the moment when hope is shattered and the heroes realize the world is far darker than they believed. In Tolkien's storytelling, this is often where childish wonder ends and true courage begins. Gandalf's fall marks that transition for the entire Fellowship. The journey through Moria begins with curiosity, the promise of ancient halls and dwarven grandeur. But what the Fellowship finds instead is death, silence, and shadows. The dwarves are gone, their kingdom reduced to tombs. For the first time, the quest feels cursed. When the Balrog appears, a creature of flame and shadow from the world's first wars, the illusion of safety vanishes. Gandalf stands alone on the bridge of Khazad-dûm, holding the line between his companions and annihilation. His words, "You cannot pass," are a stand against the oldest evil still walking the earth. The victory is short-lived. The Balrog's whip lashes out, dragging him into the abyss. His last command, "Fly, you fools," is both warning and farewell. The Fellowship escapes, but they are changed forever. The light of their guide is gone, replaced by fear and guilt. The journey that began with laughter now becomes a test of endurance. Gandalf's fall is not just the loss of a friend, it's the death of innocence, the moment when the story stops feeling like an adventure and becomes something far heavier. Level 5. Familial rejection. Level 5 descends into familial rejection, the heartbreak of love denied by the very person it's meant for. This pain is deeply human. It's not the wrath of dark lords or the cruelty of fate, but the quiet devastation of not being seen, even by one's own father. Within the stone halls of Minas Tirith, Steward Denethor sits in despair. His favored son, Boromir, is dead, and in his grief, he turns cold toward his surviving son, Faramir. No matter Faramir's courage, Denethor sees only weakness. The need for approval becomes a wound that drives Faramir toward doom. When Denethor commands him to retake Osgiliath, every man in Gondor knows it's a suicide mission. Yet Faramir obeys, not out of duty to Gondor, but out of love for a father who will never return it. As the soldiers ride, Pippin sings softly in the background, his trembling voice carrying the weight of unspoken tragedy. The song becomes the sound of hopeless valor, echoing through empty halls while the riders vanish into the flames of war. Arrows fall, horses collapse, and silence follows. Faramir's bravery, once ignored, now undeniable, is nearly extinguished before his father realizes the truth. This level's sadness is raw because it feels personal. It's the sorrow of trying to earn love that never comes, the tragedy of loyalty wasted on blindness. In Tolkien's world, even the bravest hearts can break under the weight of unmet affection. Level 6. Unrequited devotion. Level 6 embodies unrequited devotion, the sorrow of loving someone so deeply that you accept being left behind. Tolkien often portrayed this quiet, loyal kind of love as the highest form of heroism. Sam's devotion to Frodo is not romantic, it's pure selflessness, and it ends in heartbreak. As Frodo and Sam crawl across the scorched plains of Mordor, the ring's weight becomes unbearable. Frodo's strength falters, his mind poisoned by its will. Through it all, Sam never wavers. He carries the water, the hope, and when Frodo collapses, even the burden of his friend's body. His words, "I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you," are the purest act of love in Middle-earth. But devotion has a cost. After the ring is destroyed, Sam hopes things will return to how they were, that they'll go home and laugh about it all someday. Instead, Frodo begins to fade, haunted by pain that the Shire can't heal. When Frodo departs for the Undying Lands, Sam stands on the dock watching the ship disappear into the light. He's left behind to live a full life, marriage, family, peace, but part of his heart sails away forever. This is the sorrow of love that asks for nothing and loses everything. Tolkien called it pity and endurance without hope, the kind of devotion that saves the world, but leaves the savior quietly broken. Level 7. Soul-crushing. Level 7 is the deepest, most devastating kind of sorrow, soul-crushing tragedy. This is where victory and ruin become one, and salvation demands a price no heart can truly bear. Tolkien's world ends not with triumphal fanfare, but with quiet devastation, where even success feels like loss. At Mount Doom, after every trial and betrayal, Frodo stands before the fire with the fate of the world in his hands. Yet when the moment comes, he cannot let go. The ring's corruption is absolute, and in claiming it, Frodo finally breaks under its power. The quest, in every sense, has failed. Then comes Gollum, the creature twisted by the same burden, consumed by obsession. His attack is desperate and ecstatic, his joy complete as he reclaims the ring. But as he dances in triumph, he slips, plunging into the lava below. Clutching his precious, even as he burns, Gollum becomes both the instrument of destruction and the final victim of the ring's curse. The world is saved, but Frodo is not. The scars on his body and soul never heal. Back in the Shire, surrounded by peace, he carries invisible wounds, memories that refuse to fade. When he finally departs across the sea, it's not for glory, but for rest. This is sadness beyond tears, the soul-crushing truth that even heroes can't return unchanged. The ring is gone, but it took more than it gave. Tolkien ends his saga not with victory, but with mercy, and the quiet acceptance that some pains can only be left behind. To see how the story truly ends, watch What Happened to the Hobbits After the Lord of the Rings, explained. It reveals how Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin lived after the ring's destruction, the peace they found, and the sorrows they carried home.